Hey, I'm Sarah.
I'm Francesca.
Welcome to Critical Babe Theory.
What's up?
How's everyone doing? The energy is a little chaotic.
I'm chaotic.
Yeah.
I'm like at maniac levels today.
I feel like you're very sensitive to the times.
Literally everybody yesterday, because it was a full moon, everybody yesterday was bugging out and like I was really chill. So maybe I'm having like a delayed full moon reaction.
Yeah.
Do you think
that sounds right?
But literally I was like smoking and I was like, I'm just trying to calm down with a cigarette, Sarah, you know?
Yeah. Did it work?
I think being around you and eating a bagel worked.
Dude, sometimes carbs really can just help mellow. Yeah.
Settle.
Yeah.
Just settle. For sure.
But you've been on your journey of smoking versus non-smoking. Can we say why you quit smoking?
Why did I quit smoking? No, you can say, but why did I quit smoking?
For a man.
Oh.
And I told her, you should not quit smoking for a man.
Yeah, I would like largely support never doing anything for a man. It's funny because I was trying to smoke last night when I was hanging out with this friend of mine, and I was like almost started crying because I was like, it's just not working anymore. You know, and I've smoked since I was 19, off and on. I quit for a really long time when I got pregnant and had my kids and stuff. But
imagine you just revealed that you smoked through your pregnancy.
I know, that would be really, what would the kids say? Cunt. But that's not what I'm here to reveal. No, I'm a good, conscientious, whatever. I used mineral sunscreen during all my pregnancies. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about that baby. But I just love nicotine, but it's like the end of an affair. Like, the thrill is gone. It's not working anymore. I want to leave it, but then I'm like, maybe if I hit it again, it'll be good. We're just like, so then I was like, okay, I don't have my kids for 5 days, so I'm just going to go as hard as possible and make myself, this is like where I'm sick and twisted. I was like, I'm just going to smoke so much I get so sick and then I'll never do it again.
I mean, that's what that guy, Alan.
Oh, yeah.
Carr says to do.
I mean, that's the only, when I stopped for like 5 or 7 years one time, I used the easy way to stop smoking. I guess promotional plug, boop, for the easy way to stop smoking. The book is so annoying to read though, because like, have you read it?
Yeah, and he refers to cigarettes both as ganja and weed.
Oh, yeah, that's super confusing.
He makes no distinction.
Yeah, really confusing, but also like half of it, no, like 30% of it is in all caps, which just like reading a book in all caps is psychologically exhausting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I like don't actually think I could do it again.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I'm going to try my method, which is just like going as hard as possible this weekend and maybe saying goodbye to it forever.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know what? This is some bougie white bitch shit. My Pilates instructor, she was like, maybe we just need to take a harm reduction model with you and nicotine. You know, she's like, most of the time you're not smoking. Sometimes you are. And it's just okay.
Oh.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah, get yourself out of that hamster wheel cycle
of obsession and renunciation and then illicit re-engagement.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that. I support harm reduction.
Totally.
For you and in general.
Yeah. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, please do. Keep us posted.
Because you know what I was thinking, Sarah, is like, I had this thought like a couple weeks ago. I was like, literally all I want to do is like drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, and have sex. But like, unfortunately, that's not a life.
Maybe in France.
Yeah.
But in America, keep dreaming.
Yeah. Totally. So, should we talk about that big bad daddy, Cuomo?
Yeah. Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. There's so many big bad daddies right now.
Yeah. So, Francesca,
yeah,
who are you voting for? We have the New York Democratic primary for the mayoral race coming up.
Yeah, for New York City mayor.
June 24th. Early voting starts soon.
Who am I voting for? I don't know yet.
Playing it by ear.
I'm definitely playing by ear. I think probably I'll vote for Zoran.
As of today, a poll just came out putting Zoran Mamdani over Como by I think 4 points.
Yeah, I heard about that. And here's like, we had a little like secret tea a couple months ago, which I didn't share at the time out of being wildly discreet, which was that Eric Adams, who's not running in the Democratic primary, who's running as an independent as a move to sort of like, I don't know, whatever, it's not going to happen for him. But he was like, this was like a month ago, I heard through the grapevine that he was like, he wasn't concerned about Cuomo at all, and he was concerned about Zoran.
That's
his real competition.
Because he's so dumb. So that's like an amazing insight by Adams, considering how far behind Zoran was until recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking prescient.
Is Eric Adams
psychic? Does he have his finger on the pulse of the times? He might.
Yeah. Well, people point out like that. So Zoran Mamdani, he's a 33-year-old Democratic Socialist and 3-term Queens Assemblyman. He's definitely the hottest candidate, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Of all of them.
Yeah.
Not like smoking, but like, you know, attractive young man.
Attractive in a non-threatening way.
Totally.
His wife, on the other hand, though, she's fucking cute.
Oh, yeah? I haven't seen a photo of her.
Oh, yeah. There was like some right-wing trolls, like outed some stuff about her. So then he like released all their wedding photos, which were like on this New York City subway, like going to the courthouse. And they were mad cute photos, and the bitches were loving it on the internet.
I'm sure.
I mean, she looks it was cute. And the photographer, I think, is popping off now, who took them, as she should.
Finally, some good news. Yeah, he is huge online. You've seen him online. Yeah. He makes these, you know, very viral forward videos.
They're just kind of goofy, though. That's what I was like, oh, people just want to see goofballs?
People just want to see someone who has like some sort of charisma and energy, I think.
Totally.
Which I would say all of the other candidates lack. Maybe Cuomo at one time had charisma in his peak COVID days when like all of the 50, 60-year-old women were like really into him.
I'm a little into him still. Like, not politically, but like I get the firm daddy thing. Like what's attractive about him is that it's a very it's like so New York. Like nobody who doesn't live in New York has that. Maybe like some parts of Chicago.
Except I'll say he doesn't live in New York City. He moved here a year ago to run.
But but unless he's lying in his interview with the Times, he did grow up here and lived in New York City until he was 32. He just like he's a native New Yorker. Totally. Do you know what I mean? Which I have to say Zoran is not. Zoran is giving a little more globalist than that.
Yeah, he is a native New Yorker. I think he moved here when he was 6.
Yeah.
So he grew up in New York functionally. But yes, he does not have that like New York accent, that New York energy that Cuomo has.
Yeah, he wouldn't get cast in a Scorsese flick.
Yeah, specifically. Yeah, totally.
But does that just mean because he's not white? Possibly. How many not white people are there in Scorsese movies?
I guess just those Native Americans in that last one.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not into Cuomo, and I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday about Cuomo, and I was like, why do you hate Cuomo? And he was like, remember how de Blasio was going to roll out vaccinations during COVID really early, but Cuomo was pissed that he hadn't come up with the idea first. So Cuomo made it illegal for de Blasio to give COVID vaccinations in the city, like out of petty spite.
Listen, a man living in his father's shadow, always a bad idea. We learned this with George W. Bush, you know?
Totally.
Because his goal is not to be the best mayor that he can be.
No.
It's to create his own legacy.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a bridge named after him, you know?
Totally. I always get confused about that bridge. I don't remember Mario. Was Mario fun?
I think he was before our time.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't say a lot about him, but I think he was generally liked.
Yeah. I mean, if
based
you get
on the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, Cuomo, it's just like, also, the only other thing where I was like, this is concrete evidence of why I don't want to vote for Cuomo. He's being backed by, it's not a super PAC, it's just a PAC called Housing for All that represents the interests of landlords. I was like,
come on,
I was
dude.
like, manipulative naming much?
Yeah.
Housing for all you hella rich people? You know what I mean? I was like, this is some bullshit. But I have my ear to the ground on the street. Report is that the working class is into Cuomo. So, but the question is like, who's going to go through the effort of turning out for this election. There's like historically low turnout. Isn't it like only 200 to 400,000 people vote?
It's
in
really
the Democratic
low,
primary
whatever it
in New
is,
York City. So if you're listening and you live in New York and you care, your vote super duper matters.
Your vote literally matters.
It literally is mattering.
Yeah. I mean, me and my brother have been on the grind to get all of our boomer family members to vote for him.
But I thought you revealed last time that you were a young Republican because your parents were Republicans.
Yeah, but my parents are like never Trumpers, you know.
But they're not going to vote for Zoran.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Get the fuck out, bitch.
Yeah, me and my brother have been working on this. And my brother's a journalist, so he has a lot of legitimacy in my family. His political opinions matter in a way that mine do not. So I was sending my dad videos of, I sent him the one where Zoran's like, I'm not going to cut the NYPD. Because my dad, you know,
that's his main concern in life.
His main concern is standing at Walgreens after pushing the button and waiting for someone to come.
Honestly, it's fucking whack.
I made fun of my dad, but then they literally all talked about it at the debate. It actually is a major concern.
It's just, I mean, I would say it's just majorly annoying. You know?
Sure.
It's just like...
incentivizes you to shop at your local pharmacy.
Totally. 100% great answer. Yeah. I just feel like you just beep and you're just in this limbo and nobody ever fucking comes, and it's annoying. The people who open it for you, they're always like... And I'm like, I'm literally trying to buy something at the establishment that pays you. I mean, I don't really shop. I try to avoid like a CVS at all costs in general. Do you know what I mean?
That's really hard to do, though.
I used to not purchase single-use plastic.
I know. I thought you actually still.
No, I mean, maybe this is like a justification, but I was just like, maybe I need to live in society as it exists and let go of my neuroses and hang-ups and obsession with trash. Yeah.
When I met you, you carried around a mason jar at all times.
Yeah, but you know what? When a glass mason jar breaks in your purse a couple times, you start taking that shit seriously. No, I have a metal canteen. Look, I don't like love things. I mean, I don't like there, but the thing is that like a function of this is neuroses. It's not just like political and environmental. Mm-hmm. Like I only generally 95% of the time buy beverages in aluminum cans because they're the only things that can actually be recycled.
I feel like we should do an investigative report on recycling. How does that really work?
Most recycling is fake news.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah. Basically, aluminum cans and some glass is what you can recycle. So, like, I try to not buy any plastic, but then I'm like, why do I have to forsake my pleasure? Like, yesterday I got, like, a raspberry hibiscus spritz, and I was hoping it wasn't going to come in plastic, but then it did, and I was like, this is good. But then I was like, the only version of you know how Elon Musk believes that we live in a simulation?
Sure.
The only version of that story I believe is because I'm always like, where does all the fucking trash go, man?
Yeah.
Do you know where it goes? The Philippines.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm like, where's the trash?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's a privilege to not
think about that trash. Mm-hmm. Or it's a simulation. As our friend Elon, who has just been crawling back with his tail between his legs. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I saw it. I regret what I said, that Trump is on Epstein's list. It's like, okay, well, do you regret that you said it, or
is it not true?
Yeah, please clarify. But I canvassed for Zoran.
Yes.
And I was partnered with this woman who's Canadian who wanted to volunteer, but you can't collect signatures to get someone on the ballot if you're not a citizen.
That tracks.
So I had to be her partner, which is good because I actually hate canvassing based on my traumas of canvassing for the 2016 election.
Yeah.
Where everyone was just so mad at me the whole time, as I said on the last episode. But this woman was just going way too hard, going up to everyone. We were at a playground because she has a young kid, and she's like, parents are so bored at the playground, they'll be happy to talk to us, which was like sometimes true. But she was like, Zoran Mamdani is a democratic socialist, and he wants to freeze rent and free buses and free, you know, and everyone was like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't come out saying he's a democratic socialist, because people were like, that's too radical for me, you know.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I targeted white men, slightly younger than me.
Who are obsessed with you and you're their wet dream.
I went up to them and I said, "Are you a registered Democrat?" And they were like, "Oh, yeah." And I was like, "Okay, great. Can I have your signature?" And then they would be like, "Well, I don't want to give my address." I was like, "It's too late. The Board of Elections already has it. Just put it on." So
you did your part.
I did my part. I did 1 day of canvassing, like 2 hours of canvassing.
Are you going to vote for him?
For sure.
Yeah.
Listen, we need someone to believe in. Even if it's goofy Zohran Mamdani. We need someone with energy. We need someone who understands show business.
Yeah. Totally.
Do we want to have another decrepit old man, you know?
No, but did the Times release this morning that in their like sort of fake endorsement, Brad Landers, I think.
Yeah,
which
Brad
is
Landers,
like,
again, lacking charisma.
Like, who's excited about voting for Brad Landers?
You know, the Times can't endorse Zohran because he did not say, you know, that his first trip as mayor will be to Israel. Which, if you didn't watch the debate, there's another one tonight. Which, if you didn't watch the debate, they asked all of the candidates where their first trip out of the country would be. And a couple of people said, you know, places that their families were from.
Why is that question even being asked? How is that relevant to being the mayor of New York City?
Apparently it is. So several people said Israel. And then Zohran said, you know, I'm just focused on staying right here in New York City.
Yes.
And so then the follow-up question was, so do you think Israel has the right to exist? And he was like, yes, Israel has the right to exist. He wouldn't say as a Jewish state. He kept saying as a state with equal rights, which
as like not like an ethno-nationalist state.
Yeah, where you have superiority if you are.
I think if you put it on paper, most people would say that's not chill, except like white supremacists in the Republican Party.
Yeah, and he also said, I believe that I do not have to travel to Israel to address the concerns of Jewish New Yorkers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just like that seems irrelevant. That seems honestly would be weird to go to Israel.
Well,
think if they went to like literally any country for what, like to vacation? No, to like make political. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Apparently, I don't know. I wonder.
They must have just been goading him into it to get him to talk about Palestine. There's no other, like, why else would they care?
Well, I guess it's a big deal. I wonder if Eric Adams has been to Israel. Probably.
But no, but he's been to Turkey mad times. Isn't that right? Getting that first class upgrade.
I saw this insane video that Eric Adams made of him getting ready in the morning and doing positive affirmations and being like, I don't know if I'm going to be mayor, you know, next term, but I can't let it get me down. You know, my political career has been a success, like doing these really embarrassing affirmations. It was really, I kind of felt bad for him.
Yeah. I mean, if that's all he's working with, like what happened? Who's the head of his campaign? Do you know what I mean?
I think he's rocking out solo.
Yeah, I would imagine that everybody jumped ship.
Has a 10-year-old intern, you know, holding the phone for him.
Totally. Well, should we get into the heart of it? The heart of the heart of the heart of it?
Yeah.
Do you want me to start by outlining like what that article talked about? Or do you want to talk about your experience?
I think we're going to talk about an article about how the progressive left handles immigration in Denmark, which is kind of an outlier.
Yeah.
But I think first let's talk about what's happening now.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So I went down to one of the protests.
Yeah. And also, you know, the background on this is that like Trump has sent the National Guard into Los Angeles against Gavin Newsom's wishes. The last time that's happened was when a governor was was like opposing desegregation in schools. I want to say in like 63, something like that. So like it's a huge action.
Yeah, they sent the National Guard to basically escort students to school.
Mm-hmm. Against the wishes of the governor. And then this time, you know, Trump is sending National Guard to LA against Gavin Newsom's wishes to do what? It's not totally clear to me.
Not only the National Guard, but the Marines. Yeah,
I just hear Marines and I'm just like, oh, hot.
Totally, but not trained to like police the streets of an American city.
Yeah, I thought that that's what our military didn't do. I thought they were for foreign excursions.
Yeah.
You know
Foreign
what I mean?
trips.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Trump like didn't allocate any money for them. So when they got there, they didn't have any money for like food or hotels or water. So they're all just like sleeping on the floor of a federal building. And yeah, so all they can do right now is protect federal property. They don't have any, but I guess because they don't have any shit with them, like I think 300 people of the National Guard went out. And what Gavin Newsom was saying on the Daily was that he had to then send LAPD to protect the National Guard because they became a huge source of...
Oh, like drawing protesters?
And what he was saying, too, was interesting, is that National Guard is, like, voluntary. So most people are actually part of other police forces and have other jobs, whether that's, like, forest management or at the border. So you're actually taking people away from their jobs.
At the border to make sure that people don't come into the country illegally. Interesting.
Yeah, to just sleep on the floor of like the courthouse.
And then have people throw apples at you or something, and then they have to be defended by the LAPD.
It's kind of funny that Trump wants to have this like huge macho military presence, but like, he literally can't even execute this
simple maneuver, simple and totally unprecedented and insane maneuver. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like they're not details people over at the White House.
For sure.
I mean, they've gotten better than the first term. They were really not details people that time. But it's maybe a 30% improvement, which based on where they started was it's not that great. Yeah, I was Gavin Newsom is someone that because I'm from San Francisco, he's been on my radar since I was literally a child, and I'm exhausted even at the prospect of talking about Gavin Newsom, but man, is Trump giving him his moment in the spotlight, and Gavin is just salivating. He's so happy.
Gavin closes his eyes and just 2028 is flashing from his retinas.
Yeah, totally.
I know. I was listening to him this morning. I mean, it's frustrating because... which something that we'll get into shortly is just the Democratic messaging around immigration is so confused. And
he wouldn't answer a question this morning.
Did you listen to the
I
Daily?
did listen to it.
Well, he was just boasting about how he actually loves cooperating with ICE. And he gets off cooperating with ICE. And so make no mistake about it, he's hard on immigration.
But what he really thinks we need to focus on as a community and as Americans is love.
Oh, did he say
making people
that?
feel safe. Yes, he said both of those things. He was like, if you know me as a person, and a lot of people think they know me, but they don't, that's what I'm all about. I was like, okay, brother.
Oh my God.
He is not the candidate. He will never escape the photo he took on the floor with Kimberly Guilfoyle in the Getty Mansion on a rug, lying down for Vanity Fair. He'll never live it down. That's who that man is. When I met him as a kid, he's like a plastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a plastic man. The veneers shine. Everything pops. You know what I mean? Like Alec Baldwin in his heyday. Remember what Alec Baldwin used to look like a really long time ago?
No.
I walked in. I was at a restaurant, and I came out of the bathroom. And I looked over, and I guess this is only if you're watching. Alec Baldwin was I came out of the restroom, and he was posed.
Yeah.
In the ultimate Alec Baldwin. And it was he was a frozen, diorama or something. That's what Gavin Newsom is but in motion.
Like a Ken doll kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the working class aesthetic, I would say.
Yeah, he's taken this opportunity to announce his presidential campaign in so many words. So essentially what the problem is that, just if you're really out of the loop, is that Trump has promised these historic mass deportations and has been unable to deliver.
Because it's hard.
It's hard because, so he's deported around 200,000 people. And in 2024, Joe Biden had deported 700,000 people. So we're about halfway through the year, and he's not even on track to do that. And part of the reason is because the border has been closed.
So there's not as many people coming in, which is if you want to tick people off your list of people you're deporting, it's better to let them in at the border and then push them out just to get your numbers up.
Exactly. And in these sanctuary cities like LA and New York, the New York City officials don't cooperate with ICE. So that means that New York does not let, for example, ICE into Rikers. Mm-hmm. So Stephen Miller was quoted as saying that he wants to have 3,000 arrests a day. So ICE has been instructed to literally go to Home Depot parking lots and make their heroic requests. One question I have is, why do ICE not have a uniform?
Oh, interesting.
They look like some frickin' Mexican cartel motherfuckers. They all wear like these bandanas over their faces and then just regular clothes. They literally look like clown punks.
If anyone who's listening has the inside info on who designed their costumes, please let us know.
But I think they just get their clothes at like Target, like any other person.
But somebody came up with like the overall look. I guarantee you there is a memo somewhere in the White House about the visual consistency of ICE agents. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I believe it.
And it's freaky because I would be freaked out if one of these people apprehended me because they look like they could be anybody, you know? They do not seem to have any legitimacy in their look. So that's what's been going on.
Yeah.
And then the protests kind of got out of control in LA. And
they were lighting shit on fire. They were lighting autonomous vehicles on fire, which like I hate autonomous vehicles, so I know you're supposed to say that it's really bad to do that.
It's kind of funny.
But San Francisco is full of these autonomous. I just like the amount of data processing that must happen for these stupid fucking cars that don't know how to deal with a 4-way stop sign to run around San Francisco for testing. It's probably bigger than the per capita emissions of like a small country. Do you know what I mean? It's such a waste of fucking money. So anyway, when I see people light those cars on fire, I'm like, hell yeah.
Not only light them on fire, but call them to the protest. Like order them to the protest, like on the app, and then light them on fire. It's kind of funny, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, are we supposed to take an official line on anything? Peaceful protesting is best.
But here's my thing from going to the protest. So I went to the protest 2 nights ago down at the ICE office in Manhattan. And I just had this big revelation there where I was like, oh, there is no such thing as a peaceful protest. Because what I was witnessing was all of these people, you know, their Palestinian scarves, all doing their little chants with the drumsticks, you know. It's like, at the end of the day, it's kind of lame. But originally we were blocking the driveway that the ICE vans roll into. And so then the NYPD made their announcement. They were like, get out of the driveway. And if you're still in the driveway, we're going to arrest you. And so some people refused to comply. So they started arresting them. But I mean, so these were not just NYPD. These were NYPD from the Strategic Response Group. Do you know what this is?
No, tell me.
So they were formed in about 2015, I believe, to do 2 things: counterterrorism and policing protests.
What a combination of things.
Which is insane. One thing that is literally a threat to our democracy, right? Mm-hmm. And then one thing that's like holding up our democracy. Yeah. So they're fully militarized, and they're there in tactical gear, helmets, you know, not machine guns, but like semi-automatic rifles. And you have all these unarmed protesters, and they are, you know, jumping on them, like fully tackling them 4 to 1. And this is a voluntary group. So you join the NYPD, and then you can sign up to be part of this and to do the training. And so usually it attracts people who are like looking for action.
It's a collection of bad apples.
100%. They have like twice as many complaints as the average NYPD. And their energy was sinister. And so when I just saw them pouncing on like a scrawny little, you know, Free Palestine vibe youth, I was like, this is terrifying. And it's not a peaceful protest. And later on, I saw that the New York Post called it a riot, and I was there and I was like, it was not a riot, but the police were being so aggressive and they were actually like lunging at people on the sidewalk, and I got caught up in it. And I was like, I might get arrested, I might get, you know, thrown down to the ground just from standing there.
Yeah.
It was really scary. It was probably the most sinister energy of any protest I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, because right now, you know, Adams and Kathy Hochul and the NYPD, like, they want to show Trump that, like, they can handle New York. They don't want New York to do in LA. And they made a statement. They were like, oh, you know, we shut down the protest tonight and it was not out of control.
And how are they defining out of control? Because lest we forget, as Americans, we have a right to peaceful assembly and protest. So what is their is it like they just don't like how many people they are? It's like looking a little too like the people support it. Like, what are they like, what is out of control to them?
I mean, I guess in some ways, this was considered out of control because it was labeled a riot, which is crazy. I saw one person.
The New York Post labeled it. I mean, that doesn't mean shit. The New York Post labeled it a riot?
Totally. I saw one can thrown. But at men who are fully dressed in tactical gear. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were just watching those ICE vans roll in, and I was like, you know, peaceful protest is not effective. I don't know, you know? I'm not endorsing violent protests, but I just was like feeling really disheartened.
We really need to read do our book group on how nonviolence protects the state. Mm-hmm. It's really time. In full disclosure, we don't believe in violence, but we should read that book.
No, and I was not trying to get arrested.
Yeah.
You know?
But like you were just standing on the sidewalk where you were allowed to be standing and felt like you were going to get maybe assaulted.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely afraid. I mean, I don't usually feel afraid of protest.
Sarah was afraid, if like all American dream Sarah was afraid, I wonder how everybody else was feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I bet that there's going to be some excessive force claims from what I witnessed. Yeah. It was intense. So I don't know. And that's something that like Gavin Newsom kept being like, we have to speak up against Trump, and kind of, who's the Daily guy?
Michael Barbaro.
Yeah, he was kind of pushing him, being like, okay, so like, how do people do that? And he kept saying like peaceful protest, but it's like when the police when the police start attacking, it's not peaceful anymore.
Yeah, people attacked will respond. I mean, that's just... I think they want them to respond so that they can then call it an unpeaceful protest and use excessive force. I mean, aren't they goading people to... I mean, this is like psychological and unprovable, but like, wouldn't you say that the energy is like they're goading people into violence because that's what they want?
They definitely... What I was thinking is that, you know, there are people resisting arrest, and I was like, instinctively, I would resist arrest if those 4 giant men came at me.
What does it mean to resist arrest? Does it mean to just anything other than go completely limp?
Yeah. Struggling, trying to run away, you know?
I mean, that's just a biological reality. You would have to be trained to be like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just not how animals react.
And you know what Adam told me this morning? That functionally, your only charge can be resisting arrest.
That's it?
Yeah.
And is that a bad thing?
Well, if you're only charged with resisting arrest, there's
nothing that they arrested you for.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Totally. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as somebody who is both afraid of like crowds, but also my instinct whenever I see violence is to go toward it, I totally avoid protests.
Yeah.
You know?
I think as the mother of 2 small children,
that's wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we need to do more research on this idea of like, oh, it only takes 3% of the population in a nonviolent uprising to like make major changes. Like,
where's that from?
Oh, where is that from? I feel like it's just kind of in the ether. I'm sure it came from someone's actual book, but that's like the back of the paper bag calculation that it only takes 3% of the population to like completely change systems.
Yeah, and I'm not I don't think violent, you know, I'm not pro-violent protest. I was just kind of witnessing the ineffectiveness. The only thing that I think can genuinely make change is art and podcasts.
But I don't know. I mean, like the Million Man March, like I think of legitimately like I think if 2 million people started walking through a bunch of cities and just walking and singing some shit that white people like, which would be like a gospel song. Do you know what I mean? Like,
or like Pink Pony Club, like either or.
I think that would create huge change. It's just about numbers, man.
But you know what I was thinking with this whole deployment about the Marines and stuff? I was kind of like rethinking my stance on the Second Amendment.
Meaning like you want to shoot Marines.
No. I love the Marines. My grandfather was a Marine. But I was kind of like, oh, this is why the founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment.
I know. But at the same time, like you and your fucking, even if you have an automatic weapon, like compared to like the tanks and the bombs and the drones, like you and your guns are gonna fucking lose. Not just you, like everybody, like this delusion that if I have a private arsenal in home that I can like hold back the United States military, which has been like, more money has been put into that than any other military in the world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like fucking dream on, brother. Dream on. They're just gonna like, they could just bomb you. They could send, like you're fucked.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get a gun.
I know, but I understand how it makes people feel better. But the reality is like, the government could crush them immediately.
Yeah.
So your right to bear arms isn't really going to do anything in reality.
Yeah.
You could shoot your neighbor, though, Or if you're in Florida, you could stand your ground and you can't even get tried for it,
Yeah.
So that's what
why
you
I
do.
don't go to Florida. I don't feel safe there.
I love Florida. Great place to drink yourself to death.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That hot air, that thick air, the timelessness that hangs in the vines, you know what I mean? Lizards everywhere, that soft scraping sound.
Yeah.
Little feet patting around. Yeah.
That's kind of, I think, any warm place. That's how I felt about St. Croix.
I love the heat. I find it like takes me out of place and time in a way that I really enjoy.
Yeah. But I felt like all the white people who moved to St. Croix.
They literally melt and die.
They went to drink themselves to death, They were just like, wow, there's nothing to do here,
Yeah.
Except just sit and...
Yeah, totally. So, well, I don't know how to pivot. I don't know what the alcoholism rates are like in Denmark, but should I talk about this article?
Yeah, go for it.
So this came out, I want to say like a month or two ago in the New York Times Magazine. And basically it's an article about how in Denmark, Denmark is one of the only countries in the U.S. and Europe that hasn't like swung heavy towards the right.
Yeah.
And what this article is proposing is that the reason for that is that the I think they're called the Socialist Democrats or Democratic Socialists in Denmark, but it's not the same thing as it means here. You know how like the parties are all like, weren't the Nazis once called like the Democratic Socialists? Anyway, whatever. So they're part of this like left party. And basically what they did is they changed in the mid like aughts, they changed their immigration policy to become like very, very restrictive. In terms of who could come into the country. They were very, they quickly exported, I was going to say. They quickly, what is it called when you deported anybody who came in illegally. And they did like very aggressive integration of immigrants into Danish society in terms of like language, culture. They would even do like busing. They would like bus immigrant children from the neighborhoods that they were in so that they could be in schools with more like native Danes.
More white people.
More white people. And yeah, so basically what this article posits is that like actually, the people that high levels of immigration really harms the most are the working class and like blue collar people, because like what having high immigration levels does is it keeps wage gains really low for like native people who are living in a country. And actually that's a big part of why American corporations have always supported high levels of immigration in the last like 30 years is because they don't have to pay people as much money like across the board, which is dark. And I'd never thought about that before. But basically that like right during the Biden administration, there was the most rapid immigration rates ever in the United States, even higher than like during Ellis Island, which blew my mind.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So basically what they're saying is like, if you want like a progressive liberal wet dream country like Denmark, where there's like a welfare state, great social services, free healthcare, free college, disability, like all this stuff, what this article posits is you have to have restrictive immigration, because otherwise everybody's just going to want that shit and they're going to come in.
Yeah. Now, Denmark as a benchmark to America, very different, because you don't have a multicultural society. The U.S. has is an immigrant country. So
it is different in that way. But what they were talking about in this article is that like low immigration periods in the United States, so like basically from like the 1930s through the 1960s, like those eras when there were the lowest immigration rates correlate with the most progressive legislation and kind of the most
like FDR,
like the what did Johnson put through?
Who also put Japanese people
in internment camps.
In camps.
Yeah, but what they're kind of saying, which is like, I think why we should just talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's also, they made this really interesting point, which is like, also rich people are the ones who benefit the most from high immigration levels, because like, so a lot of people who are new immigrants, they work in like the service sectors, like in restaurants or in like landscaping or in like domestic services. So it's like, yeah, in Princeton, New Jersey, people are able to like have a lot of landscapers to like make their gardens nice and not pay them very much. But like, so the gains are felt by the rich, and all of the harm of it is felt by like the working class, whose like wages are kept down. It creates more difficulty in the social services that exist because they get kind of jammed up because there's more people involved with them. And I just found this article really interesting because it's like so different than the way that I've thought about it. Like I've always thought like, oh, it's like the more the merrier, right? Like the Emma Lazarus, give us, you're tired, you're poor. But like, I'm also a bitch who's like not being negatively affected by high immigration levels. So of course I can be like, oh, you should love immigrants because it's really good for us, like emotionally. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not being affected by it. So it's a little bit, basically, and what the article is talking about is like, J.D. Vance even said when he was, in the run up to the election, like, the Democrats will not listen to their voters who do not want high immigration levels. And like, if you keep ignoring people and telling them their ideas are stupid over and over again and that they're wrong and that they're racist, it's just because they're racist, then like people are going to rebel against you, and they voted for Trump.
Yeah, and something that the article also said was that because the left had become so strict on immigration, that issue basically politically like no longer really exists in Denmark as a flashpoint between the right and the left. So the left has been able to make tremendous gains, and they kind of have taken the steam out of the right. And something that it was reflecting on was kind of the inconsistency of the Democrats' messaging in the United States, because Biden and Kamala, present themselves as kind of being the Democratic, soft-hearted, but then in the last year, Kamala was going around calling herself the border czar, and they were going hard on immigration, and so I don't think they have a coherent and cohesive message around it.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is one article. I would love somebody who's smart to be like, and knows shit, to be like, oh, this is wrong. But like, let's just say, for the purposes of this argument, like that this article is right. Like, I always was hella into immigration because I was just like, yeah, like if they're hurting, if it sucks where they're from, like come join us. But I never thought about it in terms of like it was detrimental to like America and Americans. And I just think the calculation becomes a little different if like, oh, this is really like driving down wages for the poorest people in the United States. Like, I didn't realize there was a give and take. I thought it was just all positive, and like naively, I thought it was kind of like all racism. Do you know what I mean? Like we just want the right kind of immigrants. We want the Melania kind of immigrants.
Not the Melania, the hardworking immigrants. That's something people say over and over again. The hardworking immigrants.
But don't they mean like the white immigrants when they say that?
No, they mean the immigrants that you don't have to pay anything to do the grunt work,
Oh yeah, they mean like people who are like in dairy farms and like
they're doing the jobs that no one wants because they're desperate,
Yeah, I mean, but I guess it becomes a different conversation. And I think what's missing in, especially obviously with Trump, is like there's no humanity to it. Like snatching a 9-month pregnant woman off the street, or like someone who's lived here for 20 or 30 years, is like barbaric. And I guess what's interesting about Denmark is like they simply don't allow that situation to happen in the first place. So they don't have to do things like that. No, Denmark does do one thing, at least in this article, that is insane, which is they look at different neighborhoods. And if a neighborhood has like high levels of crime, low levels of employment, and is primarily not white, not Danish, they will like take some measures to try to integrate the neighborhood more and get up their stats. And then if the stats don't get up, they will literally knock down all the buildings in the neighborhood and rebuild them and gentrify them.
Yeah, I mean
that's fucking insane.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that happens in America, although it's not necessarily government driven.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Yeah, I mean, that would just never work in America. Like, we're always going to have neighborhood, you know, like it's an immigrant country, but
you know, what's interesting is that like society, I mean, this is another thing, maybe this article's wrong, but societies with more immigration have lower levels of social trust and less generous government benefits. You know, so like, what do we value more? This is what this article posits. What do we value more, diversity or a welfare state? You can't have both.
Yeah, but Denmark also doesn't have, like, everybody's just white there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing about Europe and the UK is that immigration is this main point for them because they don't have race issues in the same way that America does. Like, I just don't know. Even if you take all of the immigrants out, I'm like, we're still not going to have universal health care. You know, it's just.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe because we've always been created. We've always been a mix of immigrants and we rode the country on the backs of genocide. Maybe like something like universal health care is just not in the psychic emotional cards for us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like maybe, but I just do think it's interesting that this period in the United States when they had the lowest levels of immigration corresponded with like the most progressive legislative wins. Yeah. I'm just so like, I guess the question is like, because the Democratic Party does not have a cohesive message on this, Sarah and I have decided to start, you know, investigating what should their message be.
Yeah.
But I think it's like an open question. So like, is there a way for it to be stricter than it was before, but much more humane? You know, like maybe there is a middle way. I don't know.
Spiritually,
yes,
I'm open borders. I'm with the Pope, you know.
Yes.
But practically, I understand that. Yes, I understand that we live in a world of borders. Now, one thing I have to say about the U.S., again, that is different from Denmark, is like the U.S. has a ton of responsibility for either causing or accelerating the crises that people are fleeing from.
But this is another thing they talk about in this article, which is like you can't just associate all this huge wave of migration with like economic, like with poverty and lack of opportunity, because the world historically now is less poor than it ever has been before. People have been like lifted out of poverty worldwide. So what they're sort of saying is like, and look, to travel to another country, you know, to try to get into another country, like takes resources. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're dirt ass poor, you're not going to be crossing that border because you can't even fucking get there because you don't have enough money. So they're also, look, I'm welcome if you're a immigration academic or some shit, we'd love for you to come and talk on this. Like if this article is full of BS, I'm like happy to hear that. But they're basically like, it's not solely just, and this is what I would always think. It's like, God, if someone's trying to come to this country, they must be so fucked. Like, of course we have to have like arms open to them. But then it's like the oxygen mask, man. You know what I mean? Like we have people who are already citizens of this country, whether they were naturalized citizens or they were birthright citizens or like whatever. Like, do we not have a responsibility to help our citizens first before others? Is not that the idea of a nation? I don't know.
Yeah, but totally. But I'm thinking of like, for example, Venezuela, where like U.S. sanctions have hugely accelerated the economic crisis. And then, you know, Trump just canceled the TPS protections for all of those people and we're sending them back to a broken country, or like Afghanistan.
Yes, yes. So I do think that, like, and another thing that this article talked about is like the asylum rules really were expanded in 1961 by the United Nations, I think sort of to make up for all the shit in World War II and the Holocaust. But basically this idea of like, because I think asylum is really important, but maybe it's about making it like narrower for like, because like, yeah, Venezuela, that's straight up, that's some asylum shit. You know what I mean? But now anybody, according to the UN, anybody who travels to another country, that in and of itself is a right for them to apply for asylum. Even if it's not like they're not being politically persecuted, it's not any kind of like, they're not being targeted as a racial group, a religious group. You know what I mean? So like maybe it's about clarifying like what are the real values that we hold as Americans, and how can we get very specific with immigration around upholding those values, you know?
Yeah, and I'd like to see the figures for how immigration actually impacts the working class of America, because I was thinking about this New York Times article about Carol. Did you read that?
I did. I was like, New York Times, fuck off. But yes, it was like such a like tearjerker. Yes.
So there was this town in like Kentucky,
Something
Kansas,
like that, yeah.
and this woman was taken into ICE custody. She had been in the town for like decades, raised her family there. She was Chinese. No one knew her name. Everyone called her Carol. And
as white people are wont to do.
Yeah. So ICE takes her. Sorry for laughing, but ICE takes her. And then everyone in the town who's like white Republican, voted for Trump, thought he was only going to take the bad people, not Carol.
They're not all Carol, who takes their pancake order every weekend,
who works at the diner. So they're all wearing shirts that say "Bring back Carol, bring Carol home," but Carol's not even her name. And so
that's America right there.
I do feel like that does play a huge role in the anti-immigrant sentiment, you know.
Wait, not knowing anybody's name?
No, like thinking like, oh, Trump is only going to take the immigrants that I don't like.
But he's trying to get those numbers up. I mean, Stephen Miller just wants those numbers. And like, if they can't get into the jails and sanctuary cities, like these people are just looking for like a PR hit. You know what I mean? So now they're like terrorizing everybody. And I think they're going to fucking lose the like emotional battle, you know, because they look like such fucking heartless assholes.
Yeah, I think to the Denmark piece, like, look, I think there are ways to limit immigration, but a huge part of America is legal immigration. And when you're going to the courthouses and arresting people at their court appearances, it's barbaric.
Yes.
And when you're going to the Home Depot, like terrorizing people in plain clothes, it's crazy.
It's un-American.
But I think that this myth that the Democrats are like open border, it's, I don't know. I haven't heard any politicians. Gavin Newsom's like saying that he loves collaborating with ICE.
Well, he's on, I mean, he's literally, I'm sure he would like do an interview with like the grandmaster of the KKK if it would like get him some social media likes. Do you know what I mean?
So true.
He's shameless. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that people need to have like, I think there needs to be an open dialogue about it. And I don't know if this article is full of shit. I would like to know, like, the idea that corporations have supported high immigration levels because they want to suppress wages. I believe that, if I believe anything. And that's dark. That's dark. You know?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
And we don't have the answers, you know?
Have you ever been to Denmark?
Honestly, it's one of those European countries. Like, how is Denmark different than the Netherlands? And then who's Danish? And then there's another one that's also confused. Dutch. Like, I literally don't. Are those 4 different countries? 2 different countries? Like,
Netherlands are the Dutch.
Yeah, but that's confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, the Netherlands are the Dutch. Cool, thank you. Teach me. And then what else?
The Danes are from Denmark.
Yeah, they're hot. Hamlet was a Dane, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's literally all I know about Denmark. I'm not really into like Northern Europe.
Yeah.
It's a little cold and dry for me. I need some like Southern passion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had Georgian food the other night, and I was like, most white cuisines are really underwhelming, you know?
Georgia, would some people say that's not white though?
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
A whole other can of worms.
I don't think in America you can say that Georgians aren't white.
Okay. I think that's an open question. But you know, I think it's because I'm Eastern European. I actually feel like the Eastern Europeans have more in common with the Southern Europeans culturally. I just don't get those like cold hot, like the cold blondes who are
Vikings.
Emotionally unavailable. Doesn't do it for me.
Like the Vikings.
I'm not looking. Yeah.
I'm asking DuckDuckGo if Georgians are white.
I know. I was thinking about Google tracking me.
Yes, Caucasians.
Yeah, but from like the Caucasus. But like that's the kind of shit where like I'm sure Hitler didn't think they were white. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean some people say that like Jews aren't white, you know.
Totally. So
I'm half Jewish.
I know. I actually have a book written by a Jewish guy about how Jews are not white that I was reading. So anyway, whatever. We don't have to get into
this kind
sorting races.
But I did get into a fight online.
With who?
Oh, okay, so I can't have Instagram on my phone because
you fight?
I get so worked up.
That's really cool.
So I follow these bitches online. I'm not gonna name them.
Okay.
But they kind of do a similar thing to us, honestly. They're like progressive left, but hot, you know?
Oh.
I mean, I'm not gonna label us, but
who cares about that? Okay,
And
they fought you?
Well, one of them made this post about a comment someone had left about Trump sending in the Marines. And he was like, yeah, he can do it because he's the commander-in-chief. But he spelled chief wrong. So then she made this video, like, shaming him for not being able to spell.
Like commander-in-chef? Or he just mixed up the I and the E?
The I and the E.
Oh, who fucking cares?
And she was like, my brother in Christ, it's I before E except after C. And when sounding like A in neighbor and way, okay? Like, you know? And I was like, hey, I just feel like spelling and grammar shaming is why people hate liberals. And, you know, 50% of the country reads at a rate below proficiency. So it's really a systematic issue. And it's just kind of a bad look for the country or for the party championing immigrants and multiculturalism. So I think this is a very thoughtful comment. And then she responds like, well, okay, well, he's not an immigrant or multicultural. And then I'm like, should I respond? And then I'm like, no, Sarah, like turn away, you know, just
but
like
you didn't.
No, I did. But then the guy who had left the comment and misspelled chief responds to her. And he says, lol, why don't you say that to my black uncle or my Native American best friend? And I was like, okay, delete Instagram. Like,
see, I think that's really cool, Sarah. I won't even, like, my relationship with Instagram is like, I won't even look at people's stories because I don't want them to know what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I literally don't look at, like, I'll do it by accident sometimes and I'll be like, fuck. But, like,
you know what most women in your position would do?
What would they do?
Create a burner account.
But I don't give a fuck what people put on their. Do you know what I mean? I think the bigger issue is like I just don't care about social media, so it's not exciting. But that is a good idea. But you know what I should start a burner account for? I do have a desire to be a troll.
Okay, well that's
literally okay. So if you see somebody being a real asshole,
what kind of troll?
Just like bitches, just be like, your outfit's so fucking stupid.
Francesca.
Oh, what? Like literally Sydney Sweeney's stylist. I mean, I was gonna say should be hung, but like that's too strong. But like her stylist fucking sucks. And she's so cute and hot. And just because she comes from the working class doesn't mean it's okay to dress her like garbage.
I don't think that bitch comes from the working class.
I'm pretty sure she does.
Okay. We'll fact check this.
But I just feel like her stylist is so deeply whack. I can't even tell you.
No, you've shown me photos. Yeah, I agree. But don't you think wearing the outfits is punishment enough?
No, I think her stylist should know that she sucks.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I have a troll within me, Sarah. I've just never let it loose.
We all do. And literally, if I have Instagram on my phone, I become...
I think that was kind of cool and more like third grade than trollish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like, you're like that girl who's like, but excuse me, it's actually not nice to be making fun of, you know what I mean?
My point was it's not only is it not nice, it's annoying. It is, as the article, I had never heard of this. They keep calling like educated overeducated
Boston
liberals.
Brahmins, the Brahmins.
The Brahmin class.
The Brahmin class. Yeah, I mean, that's what our political project is, Sarah.
We are the Brahmin class, Francesca.
No, we're not, Sarah.
You went to Columbia.
But do you think Steve Bannon thinks he's the Brahmin class? No, it's in your heart, man. It's not
Where
just
did
in your
Steve Bannon go?
Harvard. It's not in your credentials.
Steve Bannon went to Harvard?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. He is from the bosom of the Brahmin, but it's about like your true grit underneath. But I was going to say, Sarah, that our political project is to make the Democrats not annoying again.
I don't think we're the right people for that project.
Sarah, oh ye of little faith.
Last night I was talking to my husband, and then I was just in one of those moods where like I had nothing to say, but I just wanted to talk. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm annoying myself. I'm going to go to bed. A friend of mine was listening to our last podcast, and they were like, I'm at the part of the podcast where Francesca calls you Steve Bannon. Or compares you to Steve Bannon. I think we should do a series of like investigative reporting on other conservative figures. I got a request.
I thought you were going to say on Sydney Sweeney Stylist.
We could do that too, on Ben Shapiro. I was also wondering if we should read Melania Trump's memoir.
Love it. Love it. She's not like, I'm not into her aesthetics. Sometimes with the Eastern Bloc, they really get it wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like their interior decorating is crazy.
Well, isn't that just like Soviet aesthetics?
The Soviet, honestly, this is bitchy. I've never really seen anybody recover from Soviet aesthetics.
Yeah. It's a harsh reality. Yeah.
Well, I guess on that note, we'll say a prayer.
Oh, wait, the military parade. Are you ready?
Honestly, I'm not really engaging with it.
I did find this amazing quote from Trump.
Please read it to me.
It's from his 1990 interview with Playboy, where actually they talk about him being president. They're like, would you ever want to become president? And he was like, maybe. And then they refer to him in the interview as President Trump. It's really...
That dude is good at making his dreams come true.
This is from like 30 years ago. It's crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
Okay, so this is what he said. Because he put on Truth Social that like anyone who protests the military parade
is going to be killed.
I don't know. Did he say that?
No, I'm kidding. But you know,
he said
he wouldn't be unhappy about it.
They're going to be met with very big force.
Very big.
And this is what he told Playboy in 1990. When the students poured into Tiananmen Square, the Chinese government almost blew it. Then they were vicious, they were horrible, but they put it down with strength. That shows you the power of strength. Our country is right now perceived as weak. So, like, be careful out there because Trump would be, like, all too glad to run someone over with a tank.
And he, like we've been saying for a while, he just wants it to be China again.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, also, did you hear about how, like, they had to put in the budget for fixing the roads? Because obviously the tanks are going to be too heavy for the roads of D.C.
These motherfucking... This is so stupid. What a waste of resources.
It's going to be, like, $50 million. $25 to $45 million.
I can't... Let's just end with that. I have no words.
Should we end with something, like, uplifting? No.
What is uplifting, Sarah? Muhammad Khalil cannot be deported?
Mahmoud Khalil?
Yeah.
Muhammad Khalil. Yeah,
Cool.
Mahmoud Khalil. The federal government said that he can no longer be detained, so he can finally go home to his son.
He can meet his kid.
Yeah.
But he'll never get those months back. They took them, and he won't get them back. So.
Okay.
Well, stay safe out there. Really be careful.
Yeah.
We're thinking of you.
Yeah. Okay. See you next time. Class dismissed. Bye.
Yeah.